In the 2000, many social networks had tried and failed to win the loyalty of users who hoped from one network to the next. Investors concluded social networks were like clothing fads. Users switched networks like they switched James invested past. In 2004, when Mark Zuckerberg met with investors to raise funds for his new startup, users were just beginning to abandon the most recent social network success story, Friendster for MySpace. That is the story of Facebook founding. Funding. After Zuckerberg approached him, Peter Thiel reached out to his friends to learn what was going on behind the scenes at Friendster. He wanted to understand why users were leaving. Like others users, Thiel knew that Friendster crashed often. He also came to know that the team behind Friendster had received and ignored crucial advice on how to scale their site, how to transform a system built for a few thousand users into one that could support millions of users. He received a copy of Friendster data on user retention. He was stunned by how long users stay with the site despite the irritating crashes. Thiel concluded that users were not leaving because social networks were weak business models, like clothing brands. They were leaving because of a software glitch. It was a false sale. Thiel wrote Zuckerberg a 500,000 check. 8 years later, he sold most of his stake in Facebook for roughly $1 billion. Thiel was Thiel saw past the false fail of Friendster just as Endo past the false fail of the statin. People many think of Endo and Thiel as a great inventors and investors respectively, but arguably their greatest skill was investigating failure. They learned to separate false fails from true fails. How do you that? On every setback or rejection, they tried to listen to the suck with curiosity. LSC. Overcoming the urge to defend and dismiss when attacked, and invested and instead investigating failure with an open mind. While others have gave up when, for example, the rat models didn't work, Endo asked why they didn't work and set about testing ideas. Well, before he tested his drug on chickens, Endo had spent many months on experiments trying to understand why his drug didn't behave as he expected. He already suspected that what's called a species difference when a drug behaves very differently across animal species. He knew to act quickly when the opportunity appeared. Where others assumed Friendster was yet another example of a social network had fed. Thiel investigated why users were leaving and found a contrarian answer in which he had confidence. Contrarian answer with confidence create very attractive investments. LSC means not only listen for the suck but also probing beneath the surface with genuine curiosity. Why something is not working, why people are not buying, etc. LSC is the answer to the most anguished question we hear from entrepreneurs, researchers, investors, and all pursuers. How do I know when to give up? How does one tell the difference between persistence and stubbornness? When someone challenges the project you have invested years in, do you defend with anger or do you investigate with genuine curiosity? If you defend your position instead of questioning why you might be wrong, you need to worry the most. Be an Perfectionist. Perfectionism is either an excuse to explain why you can't get something done or its way. for bad managers to justify why employees should work harder. It's stupid and careless, and as well soon discover not a good strategy, especially if you want to get things done. First, imperfection is our natural state. It's the way we were born, and it's the way we live. Perfectionism is an artificial construct that constricts, rigidifies, and conforms our behavior to an unreasonable standard for no rational reason. Second, perfection is the commodity sold via ads, motivational speeches, books by a marketer who has zero real life experience. Any teacher, leader, manager, boss, parent who demand perfection is not doing a good job. Contrary to popular belief, the opposite of perfection is not imperfection, it's forward momentum. At its core, forward momentum is prioritizing being better over being best and getting a solution over getting the solution. This means doing at least one push up if you can't do five, going for a 2 minute run instead of a 30-minute run, and going the distance even if you won't win. In other words, ignoring perfection out does not rule out doing things well, but it takes away the crippling fear of not doing well. Its obvious benefits are less stress and more result. Who wouldn't want that? To give you a personal example, I never aim to write the best essay ever. That will make my readers lose their mind or break the internet. Whenever I sit down to write every week, first, that that's unrealistic. Second, I don't need that kind of pressure. I want to enjoy the process of writing. So I give myself a smaller goal. Write a decent essay in the given time. Be mindful, it isn't a total waste of the reader's time, and above all, publish it no matter how bad it is. I've written a ton of bad essay, work that I am not I am not at all happy with, but then I have also written a ton of good ones, which wouldn't have happened had I aimed for perfection every time. Even Sachin Tendulkar has had a ton of ducks in his career. Who am I? I am imperfect, all my work is imperfect, but like all creators, I thrive on imperfection. It doesn't mean I am not trying to get better. I am for sure, but getting better is not even close to aiming for perfection. Perfection is a fictitious ideal that cannot be practically achieved. And in my opinion, if it can't be achieved, there's not much point in caring about it. As long as there's forward momentum in our life, as long as we are getting better every day, as long as we are going to bed smarter than when we woke up, as long as we are not repeating mistakes, we are good. We will never have the perfect life, the perfect partner, the perfect parent, the perfect friends, the perfect process, the perfect workplace, or a perfect business. And that's okay. Wishing things to be perfect is stupid. They cannot be, and more importantly, they don't have to be. If you look closely at a human's life, that this is what it's all about. There is neither any perfect plan nor any perfect scenario because life happens. As helpful it is to be able to plan, it's equally important to adapt to changing circumstances and problems. It's important to understand that we will be continuously impacted by imperfection from ourselves, the world, and others. If we should learn anything from this, it's how to live with imperfection, not despite it.